Hey guys, it's tough. Quick update. I say quick, watch this be like 10 minutes. Anyways, so new print. I wanted to do a little bit of post-processing here. Oops, because previously I've just been showing you guys kind of like fresh off the printer parts. I mean, those don't look as great, but I've done some work on this, sanding and pour filling and then coating. This is got like a coat of Plasti Dip on it that kind of helps with the look. I think it looks pretty all right. Compared to the original surface there on the bottom that I haven't finished yet. So I think that the potential here for these parts to look good is pretty strong. Anyways, in case you haven't guessed, this is the low profile dome that we saw in the last video or video before that, I'm not sure, integrated into a new plate. So this is cool. What this is going to let me do is kind of like, the cosmetic outcome of that is a lot better than even in the most recent mods. I think that looks pretty good. And it's going to let me also do cutting templates. And this is the original sticker, but I mean, I'm going to be able to give you guys kind of original, because these stickers you can kind of save them, but especially on the newer orbs, they're really thin, and when you're peeling them off to disassemble the orb, they're really easy to rip or to just bend to where when you try to put them back on, they look horrible. Anyways, I can give you custom or original sized stickers in case you want to reverse this mod and go back to the D-pad. So we can do that as well. I think that'll look pretty good. And so kind of the next place that I'm thinking to take this mod is to do a wraparound, which I mentioned briefly on the last video, but imagine this piece of paper, or kind of like this part of the paper is this piece. So if that were on that plane, then the other piece of plastic represented by this flap of paper would wrap around kind of the side onto this plane right here. And I've done some 3D modeling around this. There are some problems. One is that this is a compound angle, so when this sits on the desk flat, this face is angled this way, and then the plane underneath it, kind of where the thumb lever and also where I'm now putting cherry switches come out, is also angled that way, and then this is angled facing the desk but kind of sliced in. So there's this compound set of angles going on that's proving really difficult to model. I can get it close, but it needs to be better than close, because if it's not, then this dome won't line up and then the stick will catch, and that's no good. So that's proving difficult. I've not given up on it yet, but that's not going as well as I had hoped. And even if it did, here's what I'm not so sure about, and maybe you guys have some input for me, but there's not a ton of room on this surface here. And given the fact that it kind of sits and faces the desk, there's even less room than it looks like there is, because you can only come out so far before, so you have to worry about things like hitting the desk or your thumb not being able to get over there without hitting the desk while you're trying to operate stuff. So I'm not sure about that. Again, I've not given up on that, but I just don't know what's going to happen there yet. It's still up in the air. I'm still messing with them. But for now, we're going to have this really good-looking plate, and we're going to have the Cherry MX that's going to come off. I'm going to work on getting a flange to rest here so that this looks like one piece of plastic once it's all in. And I'll show you guys that next, hopefully. And then I'm going to do... I'm looking at some cameras to try to, because right now I'm using my phone and a piece of wood to kind of prop it up. I'm gonna, for the next set of tutorials that I'm actually gonna do tutorials on for the orb with some of these new parts, I'm gonna hopefully have a much better camera and lighting set up so that I don't have to complain about focus in camera and all that. We'll see. And also, just on another note, I'm thinking, I'm not decided, I'm thinking about taking down the Shapeways store. One, there's just not a ton of people who are DIYing it. There's a few, not a ton. And now that I've got my own printer, I'm finding that I'm able to get tolerances tighter on my setup than they can, and that's because Shapeways can print better than I can, but they do post-processing that you can't opt out of, to my knowledge. Especially for parts that other people buy from my store, you can't kind of opt out of that post-processing. where they kind of, they cut the print supports off and they run it through, as best as I know, some kind of like sandstone type pellet bin, and the parts have to be able to survive that. So like wall thickness, I can make, so like for example, the thickness of this dome edge here is almost a whole millimeter, if not like a 0.75 millimeters thinner off of my printer than Shapeways will even agree to print. Like if I submitted this part as is to Shapeways, they would refuse it. They wouldn't print it. And you can see it's plenty strong. I mean, it's not going to break. It's just, I think it has to survive their post-processing. So it's going to get tedious. It already is proving tedious for me to basically have two sets of parts, one for my printer and another one for you guys DIYing it from Shapeways, that basically have to be slightly different dimensions. That's no fun. So I'm thinking about taking the Shapeways store down. If y'all really don't want me to do that, let me know. But if I do, I'll offer basically the same service off of my own printers with my post-processing. So this pour filling and plasti dip and sanding and all that stuff. I've got a second printer on the way with a much larger print bed, so I can handle volume if it comes to that. I don't think it will, but if it does, should be able to handle that. And it can happen for a lot cheaper, because when you buy from the Shapeways store, you're paying their markup on top of what it actually costs to print and their shipping and the fees. I get a little bit of teeny tiny bit of markup off of that. It's negligible. But if I were to print this for you, I can print this piece for like 3 cents. And then, I would apply some level of labor for my post-processing and printing and design to go on top of that. But it would be a lot cheaper for me to print and mail these to you guys than it would be for Shapeways to do it. Quite a bit cheaper, maybe even as much as half. We'll see. We'll see what I can get that down to. So anyways, those are my thoughts. New part, new process, new videos coming hopefully soon with tutorials specifically geared towards the Orbweaver for these new parts with a new camera. We'll see. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know if you've got ideas for this wraparound thing. I want to know, because I'm not sure about that yet. And we'll see where this mod can go in the next few months. I think it's going to be good. Thanks. I'll catch y'all later.